For as long as human beings have looked up at the stars or buried their dead, one question has echoed through the ages. It is a question that sits at the very heart of our existence. What happens when our time on this earth is over? Does the light of our consciousness simply go out like a snuffed candle flame in the dark? Or is there something more, another chapter waiting to be written beyond the final page of our mortal lives? This is not merely a philosophical puzzle. It is a deeply personal and often urgent inquiry that shapes how we live, how we find meaning in our suffering, and how we face our own inevitable end. It has been the driving force behind our greatest myths, our most profound spiritual traditions, and our most enduring works of art. The answers that humanity has developed are as diverse as the cultures that created them. Throughout history, people have imagined a vast array of possibilities for the afterlife. Some have envisioned shadowy underworlds, ghostly realms where the spirits of the departed wander aimlessly. Others have imagined glorious paradises, celestial gardens where joy is eternal and pain is but a distant memory. Still others have conceived of a journey of the soul, a long and winding path through various states of being. These beliefs are not just fanciful stories. They are powerful frameworks that provide comfort, offer a sense of cosmic justice, and give purpose to the fleeting moments of our daily lives, connecting our small individual stories to a much larger universal narrative. Among the countless visions of what lies beyond, two powerful ideas have risen to prominence, shaping the spiritual lives of billions of people across the globe. These are the concepts of rebirth and resurrection. At first glance, they might seem to address the same fundamental hope, that death is not the absolute end. However, they represent two profoundly different ways of understanding the self, the nature of time, and the ultimate destiny of the human spirit. They are not just different answers to the same question. They are entirely different ways of asking the question itself, rooted in distinct philosophical and theological soil. Exploring them helps us understand the deep currents of human spirituality. This exploration takes us on a journey into the heart of some of the world's great religions. We will see how the idea of rebirth or reincarnation became a central pillar in the spiritual landscape of the East, particularly in Hinduism and Buddhism. We will then turn our gaze to the West and the Middle East to see how the concept of a final bodily resurrection took hold in the Abrahamic faiths of Christianity and Islam. By comparing these two grand narratives, we can begin to appreciate the rich tapestry of human belief and the enduring shared quest for a meaning that transcends the finality of death, a quest that continues to define our species. Let's begin by understanding rebirth in its simplest form. Imagine a river flowing into the vast ocean. The water from the river becomes part of the ocean, and later through evaporation and rain, it might form a new river. The new river is not the same as the old one, but it is made of the same essential element, water. Rebirth, often called reincarnation, works in a similar way. It is the idea that the essential part of a person, a soul or a stream of consciousness, does not disappear after death. Instead, it passes from one body to another, beginning a new life in a new form. This new life could be human, animal, or even something else depending on the tradition. This cycle of death and rebirth is not a one-time event but a continuous process. It is a long journey through countless lifetimes. Think of it like a student moving from one grade to the next in a very, very long school year. Each life is a new classroom, offering new lessons and new experiences. The purpose of this ongoing cycle is often seen as a process of learning, purification, and spiritual evolution. The soul, or life force, gradually works its way through different experiences, slowly moving towards an ultimate goal. The journey is the focus, and each individual life is just one small step on a much longer cosmic path of existence. Resurrection, on the other hand, presents a very different picture of what happens after death. It is not about a continuous cycle but about a single, final and dramatic event. Imagine a seed that is planted in the ground. For a time, it lies dormant, seemingly lifeless. But then, at the appointed season, it sprouts and grows into a plant, a new and transformed version of its original self. Resurrection is the belief that after death, a person's body and soul are reunited and brought back to life in a glorified, permanent form. This is not a return to the old life, but a transformation into a new, eternal state of being. This event is not part of an ongoing natural cycle like the seasons. Instead, it is seen as a singular, miraculous act of God that will happen at the end of time, It is a one-time occurrence for all of humanity. After this great awakening, there is no more death, no more decay, and no more returning to the world in a different body. Individuals are judged for the single life they lived, and their resurrected existence is a permanent one, spent in either a state of reward or punishment. It is a linear story with a definitive beginning, a middle, and a final climactic end for every individual soul. In Hinduism, the concept of rebirth is deeply connected to the law of karma. Karma is a principle of cause and effect, where every action, thought, and word a person makes in this life has consequences for their future. Good actions lead to positive results and a better future life, while negative actions lead to suffering and a more difficult existence in the next incarnation. This is not a system of punishment handed down by a divine judge, but rather an impersonal natural law, much like the law of gravity. The soul, known as the Atman, is believed to be eternal and distinct from the temporary body it inhabits. It is this Atman that carries the karmic imprints from one life to the next. The ultimate goal in Hinduism is not simply to achieve a better rebirth. The true aim is to escape the cycle of rebirth altogether. This endless wheel of life, death, and rebirth is known as samsara, and it is ultimately seen as a state of suffering and illusion. The liberation from this cycle is called moksha. To achieve moksha, a person must realize the true nature of their soul, the Atman, and its fundamental unity with the ultimate reality, or God, known as Brahman. This realization breaks the chains of karma and frees the soul from the need to be reborn, allowing it to merge back into the divine source from which it came, attaining a state of eternal peace and bliss. Buddhism, which emerged from the same cultural soil as Hinduism, also embraces the idea of rebirth and the law of karma. However, it offers a radical reinterpretation of what it is that is being reborn. A central teaching of Buddhism is the doctrine of anatta, or no self. According to this view, there is no permanent, unchanging soul or Atman that travels from one life to the next. Instead, a person is seen as a temporary collection of constantly changing physical and mental components. What passes from one life to another is not a solid entity, but a stream of consciousness, a flame of energy that carries the karmic charge. Like lighting one candle from another, the flame of the new life is causally connected to the old one, but it is not identical to it. The goal in Buddhism, much like in Hinduism, is to break free from the cycle of samsara. This liberation is known as nirvana, which literally means to extinguish or to blow out. It refers to the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, and delusion that fuel the cycle of suffering and rebirth. By following the path laid out by the Buddha, one can dissolve the karmic force